So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you looked your spouse in the eye and asked a question? The question is, how can I be a better husband? Or how can I be a better wife? If it's been a while, this conversation is for you. Welcome back to the Macho Ranch TOSO Experience. I'm Marlow, and this is my partner, Jay. Today, we're doing something a little different. We have some special guests in our conversation today. This is my wife, Kimberly Jones. We've been married 34 years. She's been with me through the thick, the thin, the ups and the downs, the challenges, and so forth. And I'm glad to have her here today.
And this is my wife, Susana Orderica Gonzalez, and so forth and so forth.
You can just call me Susie.
Yeah, short for Susie. We can do that. We've been married 23 years.
Correct.
And counting. Same thing, highs and lows, ups and downs, and all around. And hope y'all enjoy this new episode, guys. You know, it's a different tone that we normally do, but hey, we decided, you know what, let's bring the wives in here and get their perspective on marriage and life, and because they all have some kind of input they're gonna put in. So
that's right.
Might as well put it on camera.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And that's something about marriages. There are some things we talk about, but we don't talk enough about.
Mm-hmm.
But the question that I came from that statement is why? Why is that we don't talk about marriages enough?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's pride. Sometimes marriages feel that they don't want people to know that they're going through some challenges or some tough times. Or they may feel that marriages should always be good. It could be a number of different reasons.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's two extremes.
Yeah.
There is the highlight reel where it's the anniversaries, it's the birthdays, it's the vacations, and the other extreme is the betrayals, the divorce, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But what we really miss is the in between, like how to handle finances, raising kids, career changes, all of those things. So I believe it's good that we talk about marriage, but not just the things that are going so well or the things that are going so bad. There's so many other things in between. And as we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, how we may see online where there are certain couples may, say that's my queen, my king, but then we also see the flip side where they're talking bad about one another. But we really don't see that in between once again. I think that's very important. What do you guys think? Any thoughts to that?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that also the experiences that you have had watching your parents, maybe, what examples have you seen in your life as marriage? I think that can also have a huge impact on how you perceive marriage.
Correct.
Now, I think like you said, there's always two extremes. For me, I felt like, based on what I saw, I don't want to get married, right? If that's what it is, I don't want it. But then you have another extreme of, putting up with disrespect, putting up with a person's, physical abuse, possibly, because that's what you saw. So it's either kind of like you're in or out. And that in between, like you said, it's like it gets very foggy and it gets very vague and the line gets blurry. And we don't talk about that a lot. And I think in this day and age, there's not a lot of people getting married like it used to be.
True.
And I think because there's not enough people rejoicing about marriage, and I feel like maybe 8 out of 10 and is more bashing on one another instead of encouraging or saying like my husband's I love that my husband does it, X, Y, or Z, or
Right.
you know, it's a lot of conversations. I feel that if it's like between ladies or maybe between men, you know, from the what I understand is that it's more like talking bad about the spouse,
Right.
and
Right.
I feel like that's just not something that should be done.
Right. And unfortunately, there are a lot of, um, like you said, blurred lines when it comes to marriages. There's not a lot of positive marriages that I can um, say, far as grew up with or
Mhm.
saw the example
Mhm.
of, what a wife should do, and a husband. From my experience growing up, unfortunately, I didn't have that. Um, and so we don't have a lot of examples of positive marriages, most of all godly marriages,
Yeah.
where there's God is the foundation of your marriage,
Mhm.
and you have a husband and a wife that are walking in the Lord, not perfect,
Mhm.
having issues. We all have issues. Nobody's perfect. No marriage is perfect. And so understanding that once that foundation is in Christ, then we can last. We can make this work. And the scripture that comes to mind is it's in Ecclesiastes when it talks about a three string cord is not easily broken. And
Yeah.
so in that, it's like it's my husband, God, and me. That He's intertwined
Mhm.
in this cord with us to help us to walk this foundation in. I think that's the thing that's missing in a lot of marriages. We're trying to do this on our own,
Yeah.
or use the examples that we had with family,
Yeah.
which was not really a firm foundation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, and so we don't see many of that. And so thank God that we're in a place where we can model that. Be the difference to make a difference in showing couples that there is um what's the word that I want to say? There is hope. Um, there is life
Mhm.
in having a relationship or a marriage that is secured or found in Christ. It's not something cliche-ish or something that we can't model after.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
I remember when we were back in Colorado,
Mhm.
we had some good friends. They opened up their home and they invited married couples. It was once a month and did it for several years.
Mhm.
And what I enjoyed most about that, there were married couples in all stages of their union.
Yeah.
There were some at this point, Kim and I was married maybe around 14, 15 years at that moment. But there were some that were married like 40 and 42 years.
Mhm.
And some were like newlyweds. And so when we get together, they were sharing stories of where they were, and that was a good opportunity for us.
Yes.
Yes, we can encourage those who were much newer in their marriage
Mhm.
or somewhere where we were, but the ones that was married 20 and 30 and 40 years, I'm listening.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do we get there?
Yeah.
What does that look like? And we understand it's not a cookie cutter marriage, but we can glean from them.
Yeah.
The Bible says test everything, keep what's good. And if we find ourselves going through a situation that we heard, okay, I remember so and so share something. What did they do? How did they do it?
Mm.
Maybe we need to go back and maybe we need to call them. Maybe we need to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Or it'd be those moments where you can ask a question. And sometimes we don't want to become vulnerable in those settings is because if we say something, that's the indication that something is going wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we won't say nothing. But some of the resolutions were in the midst of that circle of people.
Yeah.
That can say, hey, look, well, I'm not going through that, but here are some things you can consider.
Mhm.
And I believe for us, that added so much value. And when we look at three of our four kids, that that are currently married, you know, we wanted to make sure we modeled a godly marriage before them, not a flawless marriage, not a marriage that was always a rose bush experience, no, but one that can be as balanced as possible,
Mhm.
so where they can see mom and dad didn't have had disagreements,
Yeah.
where they seen us, where you know what, hey, we don't want to talk to mom and dad right now. They got some things going on, or
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. And so,
Mhm.
and what I enjoy so much now is that we're able to come alongside of our adult children in their own marriage to able to encourage, to inspire, to motivate. And so, but if we had not been in some of those circles with some of those other couples all those years, I'm not sure how we may have responded to some of the situations we went through.
Right.
Now, ultimately, God is the center of it, but those many conversations and stories has helped us, and I just don't see that happening today, where
Yeah.
it offers those spaces and places where those who are just starting off can say, "Man, I like being in company with that," or someone who's on the verge of getting ready to be courted, and they want to go down that path. Maybe they don't have that model at home. Maybe they don't have someone in their families to where they can say, "Man, that's a marriage I want to model after."
Mhm.
So, when I think about you know this subject, this conversation that we're having today, I think is important that those that may be listening can pull a nugget here or there and says, you know what, we might need to revisit that, or you know what, this is where we are. We really need to buckle down and get to where we need to be.
Yeah.
What are your
Absolutely.
thoughts, Jay? What do you think?
Yeah. So support in the marriage is a huge thing.
Yes.
And it comes in different faces or aspects.
Mhm.
A lot of times it's encouragement. Your
Mhm.
spouse needs encouragement. They had a bad day at work, or
Definitely.
uh, they had a bad phone call or something. I think one of the main ones that's in our bullet point here is patience.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's a huge
Yeah.
deal in marriage, in both sides,
Mhm.
especially when you're starting off. When you're starting off in a new relationship, you're learning each other.
Mhm.
Um, does one snore? Does not one not snore? Does one fart at night or whatnot?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And you just gotta be like, okay, that's not a huge deal. I can look past this.
Right. Definitely. Definitely.
I love her. That I can look past these things. Not that you do that, baby. I'm just saying in general. Just little things like that. Or just showing up. And that comes in different ways.
Yeah.
Especially when people change. That's another point in patience.
Oh yeah.
10 years in a marriage, you're not the same person you are 10 years ago.
Of course. Of course.
That's one thing that we definitely had to learn when I was working at the pawn shop again. In my other podcast, I referred to that to a lot because it was a big, huge part of my life.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So going in and out of work and just the hustle and grind and bustle and grind. When I finally stops, it comes to a halt, and you're at home with your wife or your significant other, your spouse,
Mhm.
24/7, and you're not used to that. You're used to
Oh,
just
yeah,
eating
yeah.
dinner maybe, and then hey, watch a show and we're out.
Mhm.
Wow.
You got to relearn.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
what do you
Yeah.
like now?
Yeah.
That's
That's
That's really
real.
good, Jay.
Who are you now?
Mhm.
Okay, and if it wasn't for Christ in our life at this time, we probably wouldn't be together.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
he's stronger than super glue. I tell you that because
Yes.
this.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yes.
Honestly, if it wasn't for him, yeah, we would not have been where we're at now.
Yes. Yes.
That he held us up through some very tough times,
Right.
and that's something you hold on to. You hold on
Yes.
to Christ, and like, hey, we might not be where we want to be,
Mhm,
but we'll get there someday.
Yes.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
And like I said, with that, we had to learn. Okay, what do you like now? What do you not like now?
Mhm.
And the same thing with her, right?
Mhm.
She
Yeah.
had to find things because I was used to just my mind was in the business. My mind was over
yes,
here.
yes.
Okay, now I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, let's figure this out. What's our next step in life? What's our next season?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think, having to, same for me, it was almost like just a shock where, I mean, we agreed, this was the best move that, this is what we felt that the Lord was calling
Yeah.
him to
Yeah.
do.
Mhm.
So definitely you have to be in agreement with any big decision. However, your flesh, has other plans.
mhm,
So
Mhm.
I think that, the initial shock of like, okay, like we're past the 1 week vacation. If that it's,
right,
Mhm.
something. And,
Mhm.
as time went on, it's like, okay, like I'm not used to him being around so much. I was
mhm,
used to doing my own thing with the boys, or my girlfriends, that were also stay at home moms. And, so I had to kind of learn where to draw the line as far as like, hey, I have, you know, family opportunity to enjoy all of us, to
mhm,
have family time. And then, from there, just kind of like he said, if it was not for God, we wouldn't be together. I mean, he's been the glue to hold us together. He's been
yes,
the one that, will whisper, and say, prepare your heart, pray for him, and that was something that I would always, when I would have confrontations with him, it was always like, my flesh wanted to be like, well, in your face and
of course,
do all
yeah,
that, but the Holy Spirit would say, pray for his heart to be prepared. And so I would always say like, okay, Lord, prepare my husband's heart for what I have to say, and let my words be sweet like honey from the comb. And I
mhm,
would say that, and then I would, go talk to him. I mean, that was very humbling for me
Mhm.
right,
because my my character normally, growing up was always, screaming, cussing, doing those
Mhm.
things.
right,
Mhm.
And so, God worked in me while He was at work. It's like when you hindsight, I'm like, okay, so He was at work. I was able to stay at home with the boys for 10 years. And during that time, you know, the Lord was working on me and taking things
mhm,
away and putting things in and showing me things. And, so I was, like Esther, like in the book of Esther, was like, for such a time as this, right?
mhm,
It was like, okay, so I was at home to be able to get pruned, to be able to
right,
grow to who I was supposed to be.
yes,
Because I feel like if I was in a different environment, I wouldn't have that opportunity.
for
So
sure,
that prepared me. So when he stayed home, we were able to figure it out with God. And and now it's like, wow, like we see God's hand everywhere, from
Wow.
absolutely,
provision to
mhm,
everything. He's so good.
Yeah. One thing that, just kind of sparked everything when he, said how you had to learn patience. It's almost like things had to God had to turn things around to the point where and it's I think it's a part of all
similar,
of our
yeah,
lives where we live day to day. I have a 9 to 5.
mhm,
He has a 9 to 5, but
Mhm,
all of a sudden that changes now.
mhm,
So now we're in the same space with each other.
mhm,
So I mean, God has a sense of humor. It's because we
mhm,
think about this. It's like when you said that, it's like, wow, that's something to talk about. Is because we're so used to our lane. Okay, I know
mhm,
I have to go to work from this time to that time. I'm home from this time to that time. He's gone, then he comes home. It's almost like you had that routine
mhm.
Yeah.
set
Yeah,
right,
for,
yeah,
and then when that God just changed things, it's like, oh wow, he's
yeah,
here all day.
yeah,
right,
Yeah.
She's here all
yeah.
day.
Like, how
So
dare
right,
you
now,
interrupt my routine?
right.
exactly,
Yeah.
Right. And I
Yeah,
think that's probably a huge issue that a lot of marriages may go through when things change.
yeah,
right, yeah,
It's no longer the same. But how do we handle that? Do
mhm,
we, deal with this in our own strength? We try to figure it
Mhm.
out, or do we allow God
Yeah.
to help us? Like you
Absolutely.
you said,
yeah,
hey, there were times I had to pray
yeah,
because I'm not used to him being here in my space. Is because of course you had routine too as
yeah.
well,
That's right.
And so that routine got flip-flopped.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I think that's, was God's way of saying, hey, I want to bring the two of you closer to each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes, in the midst of all of that, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? It don't feel good. It don't look good. It's like, okay, he needs to find something to do between, this time and that time, because this is my time.
Yeah.
9 to 5, you got to leave, buddy.
Yeah. You come back.
Right.
Yeah.
And God
Yeah.
changes that all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And it's like, do we work together
Yeah.
to try to figure this thing out? Or do we
Yeah.
let the chips fall where they may? if you will?
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, we know that's not something that God wants us to do, to just let things just be.
Mhm.
He wants to be the glue
Yeah.
or the foundation of us trying to fix or work, change the things. Things have changed. So we got to figure out, okay, how are you going to do this?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
man,
That's pretty good. I think what we'll do, we'll pause here for a second. We'll do something fun. What's one thing your spouse does that drives you absolutely crazy, but you've missed if they stop doing it? Jay, you go first, Jay.
Oh man.
They said, which one?
Be nice.
We discussed this earlier. You better not say that. So I have to rethink it now.
That's the one you might need to say, Jay.
Right.
I'll get in trouble. Jay.
Absolutely crazy. I don't think it drives me crazy, but it
It annoys.
it can be. It can get to that point, and it's not a bad thing. It's just something that I guess I like quiet time.
Okay.
I like when I'm doing my coffee in the morning here. I like to watch. I don't have mountains and views, but I like to look at the trees and just
cool.
talk to God, whatever. Just have my quiet time. And on Tuesday and Wednesdays when she goes into work, guess what? I get my quiet time.
Got it.
I take advantage of that. But then when she's here, Alexa, put this on the highest level you can get. And if it's not loud enough, she'll go put on the surround sound.
Oh my goodness!
Like, well, there goes my quiet time.
Got it.
But yeah, that's something. If it were to stop, I guess I would miss it. There's times where it does get quiet in here, and Michael's in his room doing his thing at schoolwork, and he has his headphones on, and I'm just like, man, I can hear the dog snoring in the other room. But yeah, that would be my
yours.
Yeah.
All right, Susie, what's yours? What would you say?
I would say music runs in my veins.
Yeah.
Rhythm, dancing. I mean, that is part of me. But I get where he's coming from, because
You like it loud.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do like to be listening to music all day long.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But I'm glad you get 2 days off.
You get 2 days.
You get 2
Yeah.
days.
Let you know 2 days.
Till she gets home. Till she gets home.
Until I get home. I think for me, after giving it thought, because I thought, well, I think that him being like overprotective can get annoying to me. Like if this was a restaurant, it's like he has to have the seat that's facing the door. It's like
I know the feeling.
if we're walking, it's like get on this side, like just another gun. Let's get another gun. You never know.
Right. Can never have too many guns.
Thank you, Marlow. Thank you.
Or when wherever we go, it's like, did you see that? I'm like, see what? He's like, how can you not see? I'm like, I'm not paying attention. Like,
right.
But I've learned that that's because, like, automatically, like, I just go to no worry mode when he's with me, because I'm like, well, you're the one.
Yeah.
So there's this funny video I saw that said, me with my one brain cell when I'm with my husband, because it's like I don't see nothing.
Yeah.
I don't, and so that can get annoying, but I would miss it, if he would stop, because it's still, because I know that at the end of the day he's doing it for good.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. That's good.
I don't know about purchasing guns for good, but
Right.
I think that's
Follow
more
you.
for fun.
Right. That's right.
A little bit of both.
All right, Miss Kimmy, or you want me to go? I can go. Okay, I'll go. I'll go. No, I'll go. It's fine. It's fine. Well, one, I would say, well, as you all know, Kim, she drives back and forth to work.
Mhm.
And normally midweek, Wednesday, or maybe Thursday, it's time to fuel up.
Mhm.
And so, my encouragement is that, hey, while you pass them several gas stations on your way home, you could just stop and fill it up. But, that doesn't always happen.
Mhm.
And so it's time to fill it up. And she said, "Oh, we need gas." Now I'm kind of already settled in. Now I got to get up.
Mind you, I just did that yesterday.
She did that yesterday. So I was settled. I was ready to just chill out.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is she comes with me.
Mm.
And it's just our moment of time that we have together, even just to go get gas.
Yeah.
So if that would be something that will stop, even though at times it might annoy me, I would probably miss it, because it's 10, 15 minutes and we come back home and it's all done and it's over with. So that would be mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, one thing, like my husband can be a neat freak at times, right?
Mhm.
And so if you have a glass cup on the table and you may be using it or drinking it, and he'll come and just take it. You walk away from it, you come back, it's gone. And I'm like, what happened to my glass? Oh,
It's in the cabinet.
It's in the cabinet.
so that sometimes annoys me because I'm not finished with it. But again, if he would stop, I guess I would kind of miss it
Sometimes.
depending on what it is, and
What was in the drink?
Now, sometimes if it's sitting there and it's changing colors or the bottom is dried out, I'm assuming it's done. I'm assuming that,
And
but
sometimes I may eat something. It's like, you know what? I don't want to dirty up a place, so I'm just gonna leave it here because I'm gonna have seconds. I come back, there's the plate.
oh, the dishwasher.
Yeah, I know someone that does the same thing over here. Yeah, we got to the point where they start putting their plates in the microwave, so
Wow.
she don't get a hold of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, with a Sharpie to the napkin saying, "Do not throw away."
Wow, man. I haven't made it to that level yet.
Wow.
But yeah, that's
But then
good.
we'll find food in the microwave the next day or the day after.
Oh, they forgot about it.
They forgot about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they hide it from mom and they forgot it. Wow. But it's just these little fun things that we all, that every married couple have, but they may not always think about it.
Yeah.
That your spouse, yes, it might annoy them, it might aggravate them, or whatever the case may be, but it's still something if you would stop doing it, they will recognize it.
Yeah.
You miss it. And so
Yeah.
I just think it's important, for us as couples at times just to pause for a moment
Yeah.
and just have those type of conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I know. Oh, sorry.
No, go
So
ahead.
when my dad passed away, my dad passed away in a tragic car accident. My parents were married for over 30 something years. Now they ended up in a divorce, but then it was one of those situations. My mom, one of the things my mother told me, was there were certain things that annoyed me so much about your dad, but I miss him, and I miss those things that annoyed me.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
thought, what?
Yeah.
So yes, like while we're alive, let's not take for granted that
Yes,
one day
yes.
we might not come back home.
So true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's good, and that's just the reality of
Yeah.
it. We just go through the motions of life, thinking tomorrow is just going to come,
Yeah. When God says tomorrow's not promised.
and we we have the mentality that I'm gonna do it tomorrow.
Mhm.
I'm gonna do that next day. We had that conversation next week.
Yeah.
Or when we go take this vacation, then we'll do this,
Yeah.
or then we do that.
Yeah.
But that's only if the will of the Father allows that
Yeah.
to happen.
Mhm.
To happen. And so I don't know. I've shared this with my family and different people at different times. I've been probably saying this for the last 20 years. So I'll go backtrack 30s. I said I want to do all that I can do while I'm in my 30s, because in my 40s I may not be able to do that. And like in my 40s and now I'm in my 50s, I want to be able to do the things I can do while I have the mobility
Mhm.
or have the ability
Mhm.
Yeah.
or the availability to do those things. Because I can't go back in time and say, man, I wish I would have, I could have.
Mhm.
No. And that's the same thing even when my dad passed away back in 2017. When they left Louisiana to come to Colorado after Hurricane Katrina, I left home when I was 20. I joined the military. I was gone. We would visit Louisiana once a year. And that was after my first 4 years in Hawaii, because we didn't visit during that time period. But once we made it back to stateside, we did. But once they moved there, I said to myself, I want to be able to spend as much time with my parents while they still were alive.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that 20, maybe 18 years later, that my father was going to pass. And he passed quick. I'm talking about, he went to the hospital less than 30 days. He was gone. He never made it back home. And so when my father passed, I had no regrets,
Mhm.
because I said, I believe I spent the time. I said the things I needed to say.
Yeah.
We did the things that we were able to do. And when it comes to a marriage, I believe we should have that same outlook.
Mhm.
Okay, let me invest the time that I need to invest in that.
Yeah.
Let us take the vacations. Let us have the conversations. Let us do the fun things while we have the youthfulness of being able to do them.
Mhm.
Because we fast forward maybe 20 years from now, that may not be possible. And so that's something that I definitely would encourage those who are out there listening, and you may be contemplating, I'm going to do it later. Why not now? Don't put it off another day, another week, another month. Do what you can do now. Say what you need to say now. Be who you can be now. As Jay and Susie were speaking about the adjustment that they had to make when Jay decided to, pursue other opportunities, they had to pivot. They had to adjust. In marriages, that's what we do all the time. Adjusting.
Yeah.
We're pivoting. We're adjusting. I'll share this brief military story. I was in a field artillery. It was a combat arms. And our job was to shoot artillery rounds to targets.
What a job.
What a job.
What a
Exactly.
job.
What a job. And we never seen the target. We couldn't see the target. We were just giving data, grid coordinates.
Oh, wow.
And we would send it 10, 15, 20 miles away.
Wow.
Somebody else, they were called forward observers. They were like within hundreds of feet from the impact. So
What a job.
What a job for them,
Yeah.
And they were able to
Wow.
see it where we were.
Yeah.
And they will let us know whether or not we hit the target.
Mm.
And when we didn't hit the target, they will send back adjust. They'll give us a different number, adjust. And we continue to adjust until we hit the target.
Wow.
See, sometimes in life, we have to be willing to adjust. But who is the forward observer? God.
Mm.
If we are in tune with the forward observer, which is God, he will tell us, okay, Marlow, you need to adjust. You need to adjust, Susie. You need to adjust, Jay. You need to adjust, Kim, until we hit the target. So while we're in this journey, I say all the time, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint race. We have different phases and stages in our union that cause us to make adjustments.
Definitely. And I think also it has to do a lot with the guy's ego.
True. Yeah.
I think if I would have stayed, not humble myself and been like, okay, we're still here, but I'm still the man of the house. You're gonna do what I gotta say, or
Right,
you're gonna do
right.
what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it definitely wouldn't have went the way you know.
It went south real quick.
But I've learned that a long time ago. If the guy is the breadwinner and the wife stays home, she has responsibilities also.
That's right.
And one of them is not scrolling TikTok all day long. That's not one of the responsibilities. Let me see how many I can scroll through. You know what I'm saying? There's responsibilities. You know, especially if you have children.
That's right.
You know, they have to be taken care of. They have to be fed. House has to be cleaned. Dishes have to be put up, and dinner has to be made. Those are, you know, responsibilities. Has to is a strong word nowadays. You know, it doesn't have to, but if they go that route, or if there's an agreement to that, you
That's what I
know,
was gonna say. That worked for us because
Yeah.
that these a lot of everything that he mentioned, that just comes naturally to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to do that while he brought the money in. I would manage the money, and I would take care of the whole household, and he didn't have to worry about anything. But
and that I see a lot causes conflict with the partners, you know, because a lot of times women nowadays that I see, you know, they don't want to do that. They don't want to get up and clean the house, and it's hard for a man to come home after 12-hour shift, you know, or 10-hour shift, and then okay, let me clean the dishes so we can start cooking dinner at this time of night.
Yeah.
Like, no, you know, that's not right either.
Yeah.
But I realized, like I said a long time ago, that once the guy's not the breadwinner anymore, he has to humble himself. Okay, now we're both tag teaming this. You know, what I'm saying I'm here. I'm gonna help you out in what I can.
Right.
Right.
Because you got to get in that mindset, like, okay, I'm not the breadwinner anymore, but I'm still head of the household.
Yes. Yes.
That's right.
So we got to pivot in that direction. Okay, so let me help you out with the dishes, baby. Let me take the trash out. You know, what I'm saying I'll cook a couple times a week. You know,
correct.
You cook good.
Thank you, man.
That's all right. That's all right.
You can tell.
All right.
But you know that brings another point. It's like, again, you don't see marriages last anymore. You know, we had an incident with one of our sons a few years ago, and when we were talking to this officer, and we both showed up, you know, because we want to see our kids, you know, help them out, be there for them. He was telling our son, hey, you don't see this anymore. You don't see two parents in here anymore.
Right,
This
right.
is rare. You know, and I'm like, rare. I'm like, to us, it's normal. You know what I'm saying? It's normal.
Right.
You know, this is every day, and this is what we're teaching our kids. You know,
Of course.
but what are they're getting taught? You know, and like, you know, hey, you know, she don't do what you gotta say. You know, you gotta kick her to the curb. Like, no, let's work it out. You know, and, you know, but the glue again, we circle back again. The glue is God.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Consistency with the Lord is what keeps you not just your marriage, but I mean through everything. Consistency.
Sure.
Because God is not birthday cake, he's our daily bread. And I think that a lot of people, will run to him when they're in need, when and then everything is good. So, like I don't really need to spend so much time with God. But if I don't spend time alone with the Lord every single day and early, like get it in early, because then it might not be my best. It's like I gotta so what I'm doing is submitting myself, to the Lord. Like, Holy Spirit, take over my mouth, my eyes, my ears, my heart, my spirit, my soul, like everything, and then I come out of that time and I'm ready and shielded. I have my armor on to deal with marriage, to deal with family and kids and whatever may be. So definitely, like he said, the ego where he had to, it's dying to self. It's saying, like like maybe he thought, well, why don't cooking is what you used to do, and washing the dishes, and why am I, so the fact that we were able to pivot that this season as well is important. It's important to pivot each season to encourage each other. I know he encourages me with work, and he's he's not one to downplay what I do. Even so he's been with me through both. Through all seasons. We've been together for 23 years, and so it's neat to see God work in those areas, because nothing I could have said, nothing I could have done could change him.
Right. That's good.
So God works in our hearts.
Yes, God does the changing. And I look at, what you guys are saying. It's like the one thing, the willingness to change, right?
Mhm.
Because if you both would have had that mindset of not wanting to change, I
Mhm.
mean, it definitely could have went the other way.
Mhm.
We always say too, marriage is a death sentence. And what I mean by that is that we're dying to our own needs
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
and wants, if you will, to the degree of
That's good.
making sure that one another is taken care of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's not just one way or the highway. It's not
Mhm.
just his way, or it's not just my way.
Yeah.
It's we're coming together
Yeah.
as you have done.
Yeah.
Came together. Let's try to figure this thing out. It's not just my way of doing things or Susie's way of doing things. It's like, how can we come together to make this thing work?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's a lot of times what's missing in marriages, where they're not willing to die to
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
like you said, yes, I am the man of the household. That
Mhm.
does not change.
Yeah.
That's the foundation that God laid,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so this is where it is. It's like, now how do we, come together and make this thing work? And that's what you guys are talking about. How
Mhm.
you had to shift your mindset and the things that you were doing in order for this to work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
good. That's good. And we say all that to say this. Here's a simple question. How can I better support you as a husband or wife? That's just a question that every husband would ask their wives. How can I better support you? And vice versa. The wife will share the same thing with the husband. So I asked Kim this question. How can I better support you as my wife?
Mm.
That's a loaded question.
No, I thought about it.
Yeah.
I would say, I think you're doing a great job.
I
You know.
appreciate it. I appreciate
The
it.
only thing that I would say is, when I'm sharing something, and
Mhm.
because I think, in a man's mind, it's almost like you got to fix it. If I'm
Yeah.
sharing, I just want you to listen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm not asking you to change it. It's
Yeah.
like I'm just downloading, if you will, just to be,
Makes sense.
sensitive to that when I just need a listening ear.
Mhm.
You may not have words to say, or you may not understand, where I'm coming from, but just to listen and
Makes sense.
to, just encourage. Okay, things are gonna, work out. God is with you, and so on and so forth. And I think sometimes for my husband, he just want to try to fix it,
Mhm.
try to
Right.
figure out a way to. It's like, I'm not asking you to do that. I just,
Right.
Need you to listen and
Yeah.
to sympathize and to empathize with me.
Yeah.
What I'm going through and what I'm dealing with,
Mhm.
and just kind of be there.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can do that.
I can
So,
do
so for me to help you, help me.
it.
So if you can preface it, they'll say, "Hey, I just want you to listen."
Okay.
That'll automatically.
Turn down the.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I won't turn that
the
switch
fix
on.
it down.
Yeah.
Because for me,
Or just say venting time.
it could be that
Yeah.
too. It could be that too. But that just lets me know, okay, I'm just
No
in the hearing
action
mode.
needed.
Yeah.
I'm not
Right.
I'm not in the thinking mode, the processing mode,
Yeah.
because I'm one that don't say a whole lot in certain situations. I listen and I'm
Mhm.
processing.
Mhm.
And you could be talking, but believe me, it is working.
Yeah.
It is working.
Yeah.
And sometimes before you finish your thought, I've got somewhat of a solution.
Solution.
Or somewhere I'm going to start. I'm going to begin moving into one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, you can say, turn it off. Here I go.
And that
Yeah.
brings me to the
Yeah.
next thing,
Yeah.
I guess,
Downloading.
communication.
Yeah.
Being able to
Definitely.
communicate, because I can't just assume that you should You know, and I think we get
Oh, yeah.
that's kind of foggy too.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you should know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right,
we've
right.
been
We've been
married
married
for
for
how
so long.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
giving one another, that space to. We don't see it all the time.
Yeah.
We don't.
Mhm.
We don't
get
read
it
each other's minds.
right all the
No.
Yeah.
time. You know, there's some
We don't,
things,
yeah.
and so I think that's a huge thing, right? Just to communicate that,
Yeah.
to you, so that because I'll be upset like he didn't do it. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
But
that's being
yeah.
fair. I think that's
Wait, but
fair.
once again, guys, that lets you know that marriages it evolves, it continues. It's not like you get to a certain point. I'm done that. I don't need to go back and visit that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still human. We're human beings. We all have our separate lanes and how we do things, how we process,
Yeah.
how we handle, how we resolve, how we deal with things. And I don't care how long you've been married, you are still an individual at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though the two has become one, you're still an individual.
Yeah.
Now you may have learned one another over the years where certain things is good. You don't have to figure it out anymore. But that's just a part of the process. We also have to be open.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad she didn't just go to the extreme.
Yeah.
And you never get it.
Yeah.
I just don't never know what you're really saying. You know?
Yeah.
Am I, sometimes am I supposed to fix something?
Mhm.
Am I supposed to say something?
Yeah.
Because I can say something. And I can show and fix it.
Mhm.
But yeah. But that's all right. Your turn. Ask me the question. What is the question?
How can I become
Better.
a better
Support? Okay.
support to
Okay. Okay.
you? That's
Right. Now I was saying these 4.5 years, 5 years has been totally different for me. And it's been a learning process as yourself being on the grind, working those long hours, many days, and that has not been for me. And I've been home over this past 5 years, and I would share many different ideas with him. Sometimes I'm all over the place because I just have so much time. I'm thinking, and so I would say how you can support. If I'm bringing those ideas to you, you may not fully understand, and even by the time I bring them to you, believe me, I've been thinking about it for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I may be giving you a finished thought process, and you may be hearing it for the very first time. And so, and I shouldn't automatically expect you to jump right on board with me with it or start asking me questions. But I would say at some point you can say, hey, I know you shared this with me a couple of days ago. Tell me a little bit more about that. Or if you have the space and time and you want to know about it in that moment, then I'll be glad to share it. Because I know over these past 5 years, I've shared so many different things. Maybe I want to do, I want to try, or it's just because I have a lot of time on my hands. And once again, I'm a processor. I'm a thinker. I just analyze. And so when I'm in the room or in the media room, I might be watching TV, but I have the computer open. I'm doing something. And she has her own thing. She's working.
Yeah.
And so she comes home after a drive, I got to allow her that space and time.
Yeah.
And then at some point I'll share. But that's how you can help me. Make sense? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna pass it on to Jay and Susie.
You want to start or you want me to start?
I mean, you can start.
Okay. So, what can I do better to support you?
Let's see. I think for me, in this season that I'm in, because I think every season is different, right?
True.
In this season, I mean, you're already doing a great job. I don't want to. I don't. One of the things that you've improved in drastically, like in the past 5 years, I would say, is that you don't get easily offended, as easily offended as you used to. And I know that that has been God working in you. And so I appreciate everything you do. I think for me, one of the things that I would like to see more of you in this coming season is to be more of a doer, and kind of like the flip side of what Kim was saying, or what if I, if you see a need, or if you see that there's something for you to just be a doer, figure it out, and not so much rely on me making the call or the decision, because I feel that we know our boundaries. We know what to spend. We'll say, oh, the budget, and I feel that there's times where I guess I work from home, and and I can make it look easy, but there's a lot of things going on in my head, and I feel that sometimes you don't see that, but I also need like my decompression time, my time to be alone. I'm by nature, I'm independent, and I need that from you to be like, hey, I got you some Starbucks, I got you, you can be in the room, we're gonna close the door, and leave you alone for a while, because I feel that sometimes I need that, like, because I'm at home a lot, and that's what I feel that I need from you, is like that support to say, hey, mom needs some alone time, mom needs some pampering time, got you, a mask, a mask and
Starbucks.
And Starbucks.
Right,
There you go.
right.
Closing the door, and we're leaving it
Starbucks
alone.
fixes everything.
Yeah. Just that, and and just saying, like, if I'm venting, if I'm telling you this is going on, then I I want you to be more of an action taker, and say, figure out how can you fix that on your own, not with me, like on your own. And I think that because we've been together for so long, in different seasons of with each other, the line can get blurry to where, like, I don't want to fully rely on you. I don't want you to fully rely on me. I think that there's things where we can do and consider each other, obviously, but I feel that respectfully, I think that that can be done.
That's good. That's good.
We all suffer with that.
So Starbucks and masks, right?
Got it.
And this is us being real, with
absolutely.
The things that we deal with. We don't want to, sugarcoat it. I mean, there's no perfect marriage. There's no perfect relationship. But I think, as we're sharing, our hearts, and we're communicating truth, these are the things that, we struggle with. These are the things that, tick me off or whatever. And I think when we communicate with one another, then we have an understanding of how to try to fix it, if you will.
Yeah.
Of course, with the help of the Lord.
Yeah.
We're not oblivious anymore. We're not unaware
Yeah.
of what our spouses may need from us.
Yeah.
True.
And I think this is a good thing that we're sharing this, is because now we know, okay, no, I need to take into consideration that it's not fair to you that I just assume you should know. That's not fair. It doesn't matter how long we've been married.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, hey, well, yeah, you're right about that. That's fair. I should be, considerate of your feelings and what the way you're processing things, and be able to say, you know what, I have a responsibility too.
Correct.
Right? I have a responsibility, as I'm expecting him to do something, but also he's expecting me to do something too. And so it a little dying on both ends.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right, Jay, you're up, sir.
So I guess I don't need Starbucks. I don't really do that too much. I guess the best way you can support me, which is prayer.
Good.
I think that is the most powerful tool
Yes.
in any relationship
Yeah.
Definitely.
that can be utilized. Because it's helped us out this far,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
And now we're in a new season now,
Mhm.
and doing things. And I mean, as far as support, like I said, I mean, we both support each other in a lot of things.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's not one does more than the other
Right.
or whatnot, but I think it'll be prayer.
Yeah.
Just continue that, and I think we're good. You know. And again, guys, this is not, oh, we're perfect couples. Y'all listen to us.
That's for sure.
You know, we're still dealing with these
That's
things.
right.
Yeah.
But a lot of it comes down to respect.
Yeah.
That's one of the main
Yeah.
things is not crossing those boundaries like we spoke about. Over 23 years that we've been together, we've never cussed at each other.
Yeah.
That's one
Yeah.
thing that we've never
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I've told her things in the beginning. Say, hey, I got my friends. Don't make me look dumb in front of my friends. That's all I'm asking. Don't make me,
Yeah. I didn't understand why he said it, but then after seeing a few of their girlfriends, I realized, oh,
This is
yeah,
what he
this is
meant.
what he
Right,
meant.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, the way their actions were, but
Yeah. So again, we're still learning.
Yeah.
We're still growing.
Yeah. Amen.
Next, another 10 years from now,
Amen.
we're gonna learn again.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna learn again.
Yes.
When it comes to relationships,
Mhm.
how we're gonna deal with our kids
yeah.
if certain issues come up.
Yeah.
How we're gonna deal with anything, with life, with neighbors or whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
All this you got to take in consideration. Again,
Yeah.
you have to die to yourself
Mhm.
because if it was another situation, we can get upset.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I'm not doing enough around here already.
Yeah.
I couldn't be saying things, but like, no, okay, let me listen to what she's
There
saying.
you go.
Of course.
It's a sense of maturity that we got to take.
Definitely.
Yes. Yes.
As we're growing in Christ, as we're growing
Yes.
in
Yes.
life,
Yes.
we have
Yes.
to have that sense of maturity. To okay, well, this is the way she really feels. What am I doing, or what can I do better
Mhm.
now that she's put it out there? Now I got to get gift cards for Starbucks and some
Right,
else.
right.
So-
That's right. That's
You have
right.
responsibility now.
Got a responsibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the best support would just be that,
Mhm.
until we get back to that place where we're pushing for, where you are a stay-at-home mom again.
Right.
Then we'll go back to, the way we were before. You're going to be cooking, cleaning, and
Listen, we got an ending. We gotta go. We're trying to get to. This is good. This is good. What I like most about it is the vulnerability.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because granted, there are gonna be people that's gonna see this, and we want them to be able to glean from that and say, you know what, I can do that.
Mhm.
I can do that. Now, as Jay and I started the podcast months ago, we were learning each other over those podcasts.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we really didn't know each other to that degree,
Mhm.
but we drew closer to each other as we had those podcasts.
Absolutely.
And that's no difference than what we're doing now. Because some of the things we're hearing for the first time,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Mhm.
I believe when you have, I'm speaking more from the marriage perspective, when you have couples that are willing to be open and
Mhm.
vulnerable,
Mhm.
we all grow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all learn.
Yeah.
We all see things from a different angle, right? And it's not about judging one another. It's about okay, I heard that. Okay, I'm gonna use that as a prep point.
Yeah.
See what I mean? It's not like you heard what Marlow told Kim. Man, look, they got some issues. No. Hey, let's pray for Marlow and Kim. This is what we heard. Let's bring that to the Father,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Mhm.
When we are able to create those type of environments, it's conducive for people to be open
Yeah.
and to have those conversations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And to see your flaws.
Yeah, and see your flaws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some people may think, oh, you guys been married 23 years,
Yeah.
34 years. Oh, yeah, God, you good. You ain't got nothing going on with you. You good. You're
Mhm.
fine. But we thank God for where we
Still
are.
Yeah.
But we continue to pray Him to go even further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep. This has been good, man. So do we want to share the audience question now?
Sure.
All right. For those who are watching, we definitely would love to hear from you. What is one thing your spouse does that make you feel loved, appreciated, or supported? We ask you to drop it in the comments. Married, and then I'll let you finish some of those closings, Jay, if you want to
Yeah.
take a look at that.
So marriage, it's not about finding the perfect person
Yeah.
because it doesn't exist.
Mhm.
That's
She-
for sure.
He doesn't exist. Well, let me state. The perfect person doesn't exist, but she might exist for you.
Right,
Like
right.
for Susie's the perfect person for me.
Yes.
Yes.
She might not be for another guy. But
Correct.
for me and her attitude and all the Starbucks that we're going to be buying, perfect for me. And again, it's not. It's about choosing each other over and over again. Like I said, every season of your life, different things are going to pop up.
Yes.
Different circumstances are going
Yes.
to come, and we got to choose each other.
Mhm.
We got to choose each other. We're gonna me and you're in it till the one God calls one of us home.
Right? That's good.
And
That's good.
again, we're gonna learn. We got to pivot
Mhm.
and say, all right, well, this came up. What are we gonna do about it as a
Yes.
team?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we are a
Yes.
team.
For sure.
But again, just one point that came across earlier in the segment, and I wanted to bring it around. So, yes, this preacher once said, he was like, the guy is the head of the house, right?
Mhm.
And he has the ultimate say.
Mhm.
And the reason is because the Lord says that He will account for the family.
Yes.
He got to give account for his family.
Yes.
Not the wife. He says the man.
Yes.
So yes, the woman makes a lot of decisions, but at the end of the day,
of course.
You
it's
gotta take it to the Lord in prayer too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought that was well said. The way he
Yeah.
put it together, and I was like, wow, that's
Yeah. That's a
that's
big
good.
sense of responsibility.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. And we're learning too that nobody gets it right all the time, right?
Mhm.
The goal isn't perfection. The goal is growing together. And I think that's something that we all need to look at. One of the things that I love that Jay said, with seasons, and I look at, marriage, our marriages being seasons.
Yes.
When you think about seasons, we have what? Winter, spring, summer, fall, right?
Mhm.
And so,
Well, not in Texas.
Right.
Yeah,
we
right.
passed one of them.
Well, you're right about that.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is, we don't wear a coat in the summer,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
We don't wear a bathing suit in the winter,
Yeah.
right? And so, with that being said, when seasons does change, we change,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We have to go along with what that season. And so I think that even our marriages, there are times that things will change. It's not going to continue to be the same way all the time.
Yeah.
Correct.
Things change. I mean, we get married, we have kids, we career changes. So many different things that go on, and we have to adjust.
Mhm.
With that, and I look at us with our marriages. Whatever season you find yourself in,
Yeah.
adjust.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Adjust.
Yeah, and I like what you said. It's not perfection.
Mhm.
It's and there was another pastor said you need progress,
Yeah.
not perfection.
That's good.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's good.
And every day it's a progress to
Yeah.
get up.
We're better than we were.
Correct.
Yeah. 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 And that, I think, communication for sure.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
going to be,
Definitely.
key. Like I said, you can't expect your spouse to read your mind.
Yes.
And
So,
that is a big
That's a
mistake
big
that I think we all make at the
Mhm.
beginning of
Yes.
our years of marriage, is that assuming that because we know each other, that we'll know. But if it's, you maybe before you used to like something and now you don't. So I think that it's definitely important to communicate,
Mm.
to listen
Yes.
to, to each other, and not only listen, but also, like you said, Kim, like, if you're communicating with him, then you're saying, Marla, I want you to listen, just listen, right? But you're communicating that I don't want any action, I just want you to listen.
Right.
So you're doing both. It's like,
Yes.
okay, I'll listen, and you're telling me, you're communicating me, okay. And so that releases the pressure off the other person, because
It does.
there's
it
no,
does.
they know when I know what to expect, then
True.
it'll put me like at ease,
Oh, yes.
right?
That makes sense.
And I think, showing up for one another in every season is important. I think that, having each other's back, especially in a private conversation amongst people when they're not in that circle, and it's like, speaking well of your spouse.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because,
Yes. That's a big
because
one.
I think ultimately, God spoke the world into existence,
Mhm.
and our words, have power. Our tongue is like a sword, double-edged
Oh,
sword.
yes.
So I can't sit here and be like, oh, my husband's great, or I tell him I love you, blah blah blah, and then turn around and be like, I can't stand him. You know
Right,
what?
yeah.
Like that doesn't work. So
True,
I think
true,
if there's
true.
something that is like heavy on your heart about it, you're upset, God should be the first one to
Yeah.
vent to. And then after that, yes, it's important to have close relationships, close friends, someone that, if you need to talk to, or a counselor or a therapist or whatever you might need. But God should always be the first one to go put yourself in the closet,
Mhm.
private place, and just say, God, this is how I'm feeling.
Yes.
Yes.
Because also before having the conversation and communicating with the spouse on how this felt, you've already took it to the Lord.
Right,
And I
that's
think when
good.
you come out of the his presence, you come out less weight,
True.
less anger, less bitterness, resentment, all that stuff. It's like you go in, he burns off what doesn't need to be done or said, and then say, okay, here we go. You know, and laughter. I mean, laugh with each other. I
Yeah.
think that's important.
Definitely.
Like you have to. It brings life.
It does.
And was it laughter's
It's like
like
a medicine.
medicine?
Like a medicine.
And
yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
I think that that's one of the reasons why I feel like we are healthy. And we because we're constantly laughing. There's always something to laugh about, especially with him.
Right.
So
That's good.
yeah, he's always kept me laughing, and
Mm.
I just see so much joy come out of it's contagious.
Yes.
You can be in a room and everyone's just serious and stuff, and we'll come in and he'll start making jokes, and it'll just tag along, and next thing you know,
Right.
then we have like a lively room.
Mm.
That's definitely one of the qualities that I love about him, that he's just God just gifted him with that. Like he can just go and light up a room somewhere, and
Wow.
That's
so,
good. That's
yeah.
all right.
Mhm.
Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Like that.
That's good. That's good. Well, first, we want to thank our wives, Kim and Susie, for
Yes.
joining us on this podcast. I anticipate us doing this again, to really impact, those who are thinking about getting married, those that are newly married, and those who have been married just as long as we've been married.
Mhm.
And I look forward to that. And we also thank you for sitting on the conversation with us. If you enjoyed it, we ask you to subscribe, like it, share it with someone. Until next time, you have a great day.